Well, we just started. Good evening. We have McPatti Langston with us this evening. Welcome to Beyond Control. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Thank you so much for welcoming me.
You're welcome. And I'm very anxious to hear your story. I've read a little bit in your book, and so I guess without further ado, um, please take it away. It's McPatti Langston, and we're looking forward to your spiritual story. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you so
Go
much.
ahead.
Warm introduction. I appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. What a great day to share my story. And the reason why it's a great day, because I'm here, I'm feeling good, and I can bring it. My story started in California, actually in the inner city of California. Both my parents were foreign. My dad was from Ireland, and my mom was from Canada. And they met in Los Angeles in the hood. Right. Not everybody meets in the hood. Well, my dad was going to USC. He was getting a PhD in art. His goal and his dream coming from Ireland was to be in films
Mm,
as an actor, but behind the scenes as a set designer and artist. And my mom's goal in life was to move to Los Angeles to get away from snow because my mother hated cold weather, despised cold weather, and that's why they met in LA at a Catholic dance. So it's interesting being from the inner city when I didn't look like anyone else. I mean, everybody else was from a different country and they didn't speak English and they had a different upbringing than I did. The thing that was great about living there, it was so much texture that was so raw and exciting every day. I remember going to the farmer's market and everyone was Latino and I those pinto beans, I remember holding them and seeing all these chilies and things that I had never seen because predominantly the people that lived around us were from Mexico. So it was super exciting. But the thing that stands out the most is I grew up in an environment where there was chaos, there was neglect and dysfunction, definitely in my family. And that's what shaped my earliest memories. The dysfunction was almost every single day in our house, we had to say duck. And what did duck mean? Duck mean they're shooting. Oh, yeah. Gang rivalry. The gangs were really big in our city, in East LA. It was actually very nerve wracking. In fact, the first time I ever saw gang violence was outside my bedroom window when I was 4 years old. And I'd never seen anything like that. It actually stopped me in my tracks. And it's in my book, East LA to Encino, because the first time I was ever interrogated by LAPD, I was 4 years old. Yes, not everyone can say that because I witnessed a murder at 4 years old. And I had three other situations where I witnessed murders. It was very, very volatile where I lived. And the thing about growing up in an environment like that, you had a 10th sense. Yes, you had to be aware of what was going on. Why? Because you didn't want to be a statistic. You wanted to live. So you had to be always careful. I remember when I was about 4 and a half, We had just gone to Grand Central Market. It was that real exciting market. And my mom had just cashed her check. It was a Friday. And when we were walking home, we didn't notice anyone following us. We came in the house. We had two doors. One was a back door, and it was near a fence. And I came in, and my brother was a baby, and he was in the high chair. And then this man walked in with a knife, 4 years old, 4.5. And he brought the knife right to my throat. And he said, "If you make a sound, I'll slash you." Then he pointed the knife. My brother was 1.5 to my brother's throat. And then he went on the top of our refrigerator and took my mom's money, all the money she had for the week, stole it. And then when he took the money, he came back with the knife, put it to my throat, and said, "Don't make a sound," and left. So that was one of many incidents that I witnessed at a very young age. The other thing about those days with LAPD, they used to take you down to the station to identify suspects, even when you were a child. They don't do that anymore, but in those days they did. But the thing about growing up in this instability is that spiritually, I was raised with rigid, fear based programming. I felt that it was more emphasized of guilt ridden situations and punishment rather than compassion or grace.
What was this, Christian?
Catholic.
Okay,
I went to Catholic school.
got it.
And deep down, I longed for safety and connection. But instead, I carried the burden of the responsibility and survival at a very young age. Like Elizabeth in my book, From East LA to Encino, I internalized the message that my worth was tied to how much I could endure or how well I could protect others. And that is a big burden to have as a child. So, what happened to me? I would say the most significant thing that occurred is my dad was a huge womanizer. And he was 17 years younger than my mother. And he used to take me to his art classes where the models were naked. And I was a small child. Just,
Oh, no.
oh, yes. And he'd say to me, "The human body is beautiful. You need to embrace the human body," which, I'm a child. I don't even really know. And he was having an affair with someone in the class because he used to take me because he was my child care provider to his girlfriend's house. And he used to make sandwiches and put them on the front step. He's had me in this very bad situation in the middle of the hood. And my dad has me eating sandwiches outside with my crayons and my coloring book,
Oh my goodness.
having an affair with his girlfriend. And when he had that affair with his girlfriend, my mom was questioning me and asked me a lot of things about what was going on with his school. And she told me that she wanted to tell me to tell her the truth. Okay, I'm like a small child. And I said, "Well, I don't know. I didn't really know much, but I said, well, we go to this lady's house." And then she had me describe what the lady looked like. And then the next thing I knew is my parents were getting a divorce. I'll never forget it because I was at the house and we had a 2-story home. And I was on the second floor and my dad was up there. And LAPD came to the door, 2 officers. And I was upstairs, and they said they wanted my dad, and they came up and they got my dad on both sides of his arms, 6'5" man. And the last thing I ever saw was my dad walking out the front door with two LAPD officers taking him forcibly out of our house.
How old were you then?
6. So he was gone. And then the next day, my mom was walking with us in South Central Los Angeles. We were going to visit a friend, and 2 gang members came on the side of her. She was carrying her purse, and they had a hammer. And my mom fought for her life for her purse, and they took the hammer and hammered my mom over her head. And they were beating her while I was on the side of her, and my little brother was on the other side. This had happened right after the my dad was taken away. And then my mom was laying in bleeding, and this kind Hispanic woman came out and offered to take her to her house. And then they called 911. And then my mom was taken. It was very disturbing as a child that your mother is laying there bleeding to death by 2 gang members. And I remember fighting them off myself. One was Hispanic and one was Black. And I was fighting for my life also. And then we went to that lady's house, and she said to us, would you like some tamales? She was very sweet.
Oh, no.
And then then the ambulance came, and then they got her, and then she had like 50 stitches, and they took her to the hospital. And I stayed with that Hispanic woman that we didn't even know. She was a stranger because we didn't have any relatives. My mother didn't, and father don't have any relatives in California. And then the next thing that happened is my mom knew that she had to move. She knew.
So she survived.
She survived.
Okay.
But she knew that it was too dangerous for us and for her to be living in the inner city. So we moved to the San Fernando Valley. She got a great job as a surgical nurse. She was very intelligent. She had a master's degree in nursing, but she paid for my dad's all his college. And he was getting a PhD because he wanted to be in film. So the next thing that happened is we moved to this beautiful place, we thought, for a minute. But my mom couldn't qualify. She couldn't afford it. So after that, we were homeless. So what happened next is we lived in the car in the parking lot of my mom's hospital.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Okay, so how was being homeless when you're 7 years old? Well, we don't have a reference point because we'd never been homeless before. Um, we had fun. My brother and I enjoyed being homeless because we didn't know anything else. So how it rolled is in the morning, we'd sleep in the car in the parking lot in a corner. And in the morning, we would go eat uh, with the staff at the hospital very early, like 6:30 in the morning. And the employees' children got free food. So then we would have free food. And then my mom would take us to school, which was only like 2 blocks away. And then towards after we got comfortable, we started walking ourselves to school. And then we'd get off school, and then we'd shower at the hospital. in the surgical rooms. And then my mom would put on our fresh pajamas, and then we'd go eat dinner at the hospital,
Okay.
because the employees got free food. And then she'd take us to the car and we do our homework. And then the most exciting part of our evening, we couldn't wait for this, was to go into the visitor center. And the visitor center was huge. And then I would get all my magazines and a TV, and my brother sat on the other side of the visitor center, and he get all his magazines and a TV. And then, and then our mom would come and get us, and then we go to sleep in the car. The car was a Rambler green, like, but it had
Perfect.
big comfy seats, believe it or not. And so we lived in the parking lot for like a year and a half. And on the weekends, we would go to the beach because she worked a regular schedule. And when we go to the beach, the most exciting thing is we got to have like a hot dog, or they had this hot dog in a stick, on a stick in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
We couldn't wait to have the hot dog.
Corn dog.
Yep. The corn dog is what we were looking forward to when we when we would go to the beach. She would spend the whole weekend at the beach because you would just pay one price at free Zuma and you could stay the whole weekend. We went every weekend to the beach. We were really good at body surfing and everything on the beach. We loved. We couldn't wait to go to the beach. And then we drive back Sunday night. Oh no. Oh, here's our worst part of our life, was doing the laundry.
Oh,
We have to go to the laundromat. And let me tell you about the laundromat. You're not alone. There are a lot of people doing laundry, just not you.
oh,
So sometimes we were there for 5 to 8 hours at the laundromat
oh.
every week, just to, just to have clean clothes. And people, you know what? The thing in my house now, the thing that I love the best is the washer and dryer. It's
Sure.
my favorite thing in my home because I remember when we were so destitute. When you grow up like
So,
that, and the thing about it, somebody just called me white privilege a couple of months ago, and
oh,
I kind of went for the juggler because I think that is the rudest thing to say to someone when you don't know their background or their history of what
sure.
come through. So then the next thing that happened is it took a while because my mom was paying my dad's student loans. Um, we finally got a rental, a house in a really nice area. And I had never seen fruit trees because, I was living in impoverished in the inner city. So it was fun. We had a lemon tree, we had a guava tree. I never heard of a guava tree. We had pomegranate tree. So it was really fun to live on a lot with all these really natural fruits, and then you could just pick them. I'd never had that experience, so I remember that was exciting. And one day I got a knock on the door, and the knock on the door was, you wouldn't believe it, my father.
Oh no.
Oh yes. So I looked at my father. I was 8 years old. I was so excited because my dad was my primary caregiver from 0 to like 6.5 years old.
Right.
I was so excited to see him. And he said to me, I will never talk to you as long as I live. You've ruined my life.
Oh,
I was like, what? You ruined my life. You told your mom about my girlfriend. I was like, what? And he said, I will never deal with you as long as I live. And he says, I want your brother, but not you.
wow.
And then I went and got my brother, and I was in shock. And I was crying hysterically. I just couldn't believe that my own father at 8 years old, and I never talked to him again. My dad had extremely large amount of money when he died, millions of dollars. He didn't leave me a dime.
Well,
So there you go. Charismatic, good looking Irish man treated his family like garbage. So he saw my brother and they had a conversation. He brought gifts for my brother. And then he never paid one dime of child support. He never paid one dime for our health, and he never saw us again. 8 years old. So when my son was growing up here in Georgia, when he was 8 years old, guess what he wanted? Where's my grandpa?
yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? Okay, so his dad has 11 siblings. And that grandpa was involved with every single one of those grandchildren, including my son. And my son said at 8 years old, I want to write my grandpa, that's your dad, a letter. And I said, this is so interesting because I was 8 years old the last time I ever talked to him. So my son wrote a letter to my father and said, I am your only grandchild. At the time, he was the only grandchild. There was two others born afterwards. And I really want to meet you, and I want to see you because my other grandpa has 11 children and 25 grandchildren, and he sees and gives all of us money and talks to us. And I told my son, I'm going to warn you that he may not respond. Are you okay if he doesn't respond? He goes, yep, because I want to try. And my dad did not respond
Mm.
to my son. Yeah.
So if we go back to the place that you just moved into, you're around 8. I mean, were you involved in any spiritual programs or church or
Extreme spiritual programming.
so still Catholic and very
Yeah.
rigid?
Oh, but something happened beyond. I thought things were getting better. Well, hell broke loose because my mentally ill aunt came to live with us, who was a religious fanatic.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. So she came, and my aunt was an abuser, extreme abuser. Oh, I got hit every day, burned with cigarettes, and spiritually abused every single day.
Mm.
If I made a mistake, I would have to say the rosary 25 times, kneeling on rice.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So, how was that abuse with my aunt? Absolutely horrid. So, my aunt um, was completely a brainiac. Like, when my mom would go to work, my aunt would come out. Like the torture. I remember my brother and I going, oh my God, she's coming out. I mean, you could just see it in her eyes. And all hell, oh no, we had hell to pay. Okay. Through everything that had to do with religion, our abuse was religiously involved. Every single thing had to do with Jesus and the Spirit. I mean, she was a lunatic. We would tell our mom all the time, she's crazy and she's hurting us and she's brainwashing us. I went to church with her every single day for the 4 years she lived with us. I went every single day. We never missed because my aunt was a religious nutcase. So that's when I knew going to Catholic school I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't believe any of that crap. So, this is all a lie. I would be praying to Jesus so much every day, and I'd be still getting beat over nothing. My aunt was mentally unstable. She should have never been around children. And guess what she did for a living? She was a teacher at the
Yeah.
same Catholic school I attended. Everyone hated her guts. There wasn't any student. Oh, the adults loved her, but all the students that I was going to school with, they used to come up and say, "I'm so sorry that's your aunt." I go, "I know." Now, my brother did not qualify to go to any Catholic school because he wasn't academically sound, or his behavior was not. You had to be kind of like following the rules kind of person to go to those kind of schools. So I went to those schools, and I'll be honest with you, I questioned everything. I knew it was, I remember questioning things like, uh, how did he ascend into heaven? I wanted to know exactly how Jesus ascended into heaven. And they called my mom and told my mother that I cannot ask any more questions because
Mm.
and then I was reading National Geographic, and I was reading about the Darwinism theory. Uh, that was the worst. Was asking them that and saying we evolved from monkeys. Oh, okay. So let me tell you about that. Okay, so I told everyone at the Catholic school that we really had evolved from monkeys, that I read it in National Geographic. And they're like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "Yes." I couldn't believe it either. So I was telling everyone on the playground how I had found these different things about. Okay. So my mom got the call, and then that evening when I went home, my mom says, "You were talking about Darwinism theory at school." I was in third grade. I go, "Yeah, I am." And my mom said that you can't ever discuss Darwinism theory to anyone in Catholic school. And I go, "Why not?" And she said, "Because you only can talk about Jesus." I was like, "But we really have, after reading this, I believe that we really did evolve from monkeys." And my mom's like, "Well," she said she believes it too, because she is an RN and I'm actually a scientist. So my mom said, "But you can believe this, but you can't tell anyone." I was like, "For real? You can't tell anyone?" My mom goes, "No, nobody can."
So how long were you at I mean, with your aunt, and you said she stayed there 4 years. What happened after these, um, that you were at that house and you were attending Catholic school and you're moving on to say high school and all that? Did you move from there or?
We moved 17 times.
Okay, so you did move from there.
Yeah,
Uh,
we moved all the time. Like every few months, we were always moving because my mom couldn't afford to pay for it. Okay, so when my aunt left, okay, I begged my mom for our aunt to leave, and so did my brother. We used to have, we couldn't wait. The abuse was getting worse and worse. I mean, the torture. We were like her human slaves too, with all the work we had to do for her. I mean, she was so mentally off. And then I told my mom one day, well, I tried to run away. I was very sickly because I tried to run away so many times because I couldn't take it anymore because my aunt, then I couldn't eat anymore because my aunt was so disturbed, and we were so terrified of her that we just couldn't. My brother shut down too. My brother was so, we were both really, really sick because our aunt was making us sick because we were tortured. I mean, like 8 to 9 hours a day. So we got sick of it. And then one day, she told us she was leaving. She says, "I think you can take care of yourselves now." We're like,
yay.
we were so, you don't even know. Okay. But what happens is you become in love with the people that abuse you.
Yeah.
It's called Stockholm syndrome. I
Right.
when she left, I cried every day, every
Mm.
day. And then my brother went crazy, womanizing, and my brother became incorrigible. Didn't go to school. Really problematic. Because with her, we had structured, consistent environment, and then she leaves, and we can make any environment we want. Our mom was never there, so we had the house that nobody in the neighborhood could come over to.
Mm.
we had we had the parties. Our house was wild. I mean, there used to be like 20 to 40 kids a day in our house. It was very fun at our house. But
And how old are you now?
I'm in high school. Uh,
Okay.
just starting out in high school, and he's in junior high. And let me tell you how much fun we had. Oh yeah, everyone is smoking pot at our house. I mean, we were crazy. I remember even hitchhiking with Charles Manson at
Oh no.
oh, Charlie. His name is Charlie. We used to hitchhike up
Okay.
and down Ventura Boulevard with Charlie. Yeah. Why? Because we were unsupervised. We didn't know he was a mass murderer until we saw him in the news. And then we went, oh my God, we were with that guy. But he didn't like us because we were very bitchy. He liked passive ones. He didn't like the ones that are like, we're not into you. You're gross. So then I remember spiritually, I was trying to find myself. There was this big earthquake, and I actually thought it was the end of the world because I was trained in Catholic school that, this the end of the world is going to happen. And I thought, well, this is it. And I started saying the rosary in the middle of an earthquake. And my mom says, what are you doing? I said, I'm praying to God because we're going to meet Jesus. And my mom's like, what? Where did you get this? I go, school. I was brain,
Okay.
I was brainwashed. Where's Jesus? My mom says, no, Jesus is coming. Like, you're insane. This is an earthquake. You need to get out of the house. And it was a really bad earthquake because my mom was on the emergency response team, and Hoover Dam was going to break, and my mom had to leave. And so my mom left us with some more unstable, crazy people. Yeah, for a week. Let me tell you how that was. It was more crazy.
Another party, huh?
Another party with more religious nutcases. So, at this time, I did beg to get out of Catholic school because, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't fit in at all because I was questioning everything. Like, nothing made sense to me. I have a very logical brain. Like, all this, you know what I mean? It was all like a big fairy tale to me. Especially, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be honest. People that have been abused have a 10th sense because you have a different sense about you because you're abused every single day. I've been abused every single day since I've been on earth. So, I don't function like most people. I'm much more perceptive. I'm much more feeling things. I'm an empath all the way because of my situation of growing up, in abusive situations. So my aunt leaves, and we don't have any relatives. We don't know anyone. And that was a void. Even though she was negative, it's still someone. And
Sure.
with someone that like had structure. So we had dinner with her. She had stuff going, even though in between she's abusive and mean and beating the crap out of us. We still had structure. She left, um and my brother and I really felt like I had a nervous breakdown. I felt like, oh, my world had crashed because first of all, our dad abandoned us. Okay. And our dad made a new family. Oh, yeah. He has other kids that are our
Mm.
siblings that we've never even met. I still haven't even met them. Yeah. That's so normal. Not. Okay. And our mom was working 3 jobs just to pay off my dad's debt. That's why we couldn't own anything. So, we never saw her either. So all I remember is that I had to get over this. And the people that helped me the most were the neighbors. Yeah. Women that were moms that helped me, and they helped me spiritually. And how did they help me spiritually? Um, well, I have to tell you right now, uh, the catalyst for change came when the weight of it all became too heavy for me. It was too much for a child to deal with constant, over again abuse. And I would say from the loss and confrontation, it forced me to ask bigger questions. I sought out a spiritual direction, and I got it through therapy. And
Okay.
who did I meet? I met a teacher that changed my life because he cared and he was normal and he was a nice person because he saw that I had potential and that I wasn't this, person that,
Is that somebody's, can you tell us who that is, or you prefer not to share that?
yes, I can tell you his name. His name was Charles Kessler. And he was working on his PhD at UCLA. He'd only had a son, he had never had a daughter. And his studies were about someone like me who suffer from agoraphobia. And that's what his PhD thesis was on. It was agoraphobia. So agoraphobia, I got it right after my aunt left, is fear of leaving your house. Yeah.
Right.
So what happened is I was in high school and you have to go to high school. Oh, guess what? They have a program at LA City Schools and it was called teleteaching. So I went to school yeah, online with 40 other people.
Okay.
How was that? Well, lots of people had, spine accidents. A lot of people had, were pregnant. I mean, there was every kind of person on teleteaching. Um, it was good. I thought it was fantastic because you could still go to school, but you just went. It was like before Zoom, but it seemed like Zoom. It kind of was like the Brady Bunch, all these little squares, and then you
Yeah.
dial up and get each person. I thought it was really good that I was able to do that. And then I met this man through school, and he was a licensed therapist, and then he said that he would help me. So he helped me a lot. I would say he was phenomenal. I'm really blessed to meet somebody of his quality, and that's why I can mention his name because he always told me, I said, "What could I do for you? How could I repay you for being so kind and helping me more than anyone?" He got me completely over it. hmm I did. Had a fear of flying, and the day I went to LAX to practice my fear of flying, you won't believe it, it got bombed, and I was standing next to all the people that died on my first try to get over fear of flight. Yeah, so that kind of delayed me for a while. It was the Pan Am flight, and they were all going to Hawaii. And what it was called the alphabet bomber. And what happened is he put a bomb in a backpack in the airport, and that's why they took out every single place that you could have a locker at that time. hmm So it was a very, very crazy time. My mom, she was traveling to Canada. I just dropped her off. Uh, we went, we thought it was an airplane crash. I mean, it was unbelievable how loud it was. And then we were in the bathroom, me and my friend, we were 16 years of age, and we were in the bathroom. What were we doing? We didn't really know. We were putting on makeup. Okay. Because we were in shock. And then two FBI people came in the bathroom and said, "Do you know what has happened?" And we said, "No, but we know, we thought it was an airplane crash." And they said, "No, the airport has been bombed and we're going to escort you out." And so they took us by all these people that were bleeding to death on the ground. And then they took us out and they told us, "Please leave." And when we remember, my friend and I, it nonstop on the radio. So we turned off the radio and we went to Santa Barbara and spent the night, and
Mm.
didn't want to hear anything about it. And people thought that I was one of the people in the Pan Am, and my mother thought I was one of the people that
Yeah.
has succumbed. But the good news was we were fine. When we came back to the neighborhood, honest to God, 100 people came. They were like, "Thank God it wasn't you at the Pan Am ABC alphabet bomber thing. We're like, yeah. Okay, so
What year was that? Do you remember?
I'm sorry,
The year.
I do not remember the year.
Okay.
But I'm saying what helped me the most, I would say, is this doctor helped me understand that old patterns, this is old toxic stuff that you don't need in your life. He also helped me on my spiritual journey that spirituality doesn't have to look like everyone else's spirituality. You can have your own spiritual choice, which I have found at the Unity congregation really helps me because
So
you
when
can,
did you first uh, find Unity Church? Was there someone who led you to that?
well, I met a woman who was teaching the Goddard method at 18, and it was metaphysical. It wasn't the Unity Church at that time, but it was metaphysical teachings, and I really related to it at 18. So I knew that I could expand my consciousness because what you focus on creates your reality. And I knew that you have that much power by your thought process to change your life. I am powerful. I am positive. I am exciting. Whatever you want to change, you can change. And that's excited me because I'm a creative type and I love that I could change my life by my thoughts. And that was the first time I ever heard a concept like that. And then I got more and more involved. And then I find out recently that my dad was a Unity minister.
Oh no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. A lot of people in Los Angeles knew him as a Unity minister. So there you go. So, well, I knew in our house, I would be reading through Thoreau, Emerson. I mean, I was reading all these things. I remember in junior high, and none of them were Catholic. And his name was in all these books. So I knew he was aligned with this type of thinking when I was 18 when I studied Neville Goddard. Are you familiar with Neville Goddard?
I don't think so.
Okay. So he is a new age, faith person. And I mean, this is really old information, I think, from like the 40s and 50s. And for some reason, I got involved at 18 in a class with one of my friend's mothers. And that's when my journey uh, expanded to this type of consciousness.
I see.
I did go to Michael Beckwith's church, which is Unity based in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Um, and Ricky Byer Beckwith, and they were in Culver City. And that Michael Beckwith is one of the top leaders in the new in the metaphysical and new age movement. I remember being so excited because everything he said, it was just so exciting for me to have somebody from the pulpit expanding on these concepts. Really great services. There were 15 services a day. Yes. Thousands of people came to these services. I've never seen anything like it. It was the most exciting movement that ever happened. So I'm blessed to be in that movement in Los Angeles. And that's what really helped me. And then I remember when I got married, um, we didn't want to get married in a regular church. And I met by happenstance a man that was Unitarian. And he married us. Okay, because you could marry in a backyard if you
Yeah.
had a Unitarian minister. So I did get extremely involved with Unitarian as well. I was in Unitarian for 25 years. Unitarian is a little different than Unity. because they don't believe you can create your new reality. They're not into metaphysics, but it was a good journey as well. It was another open-minded faith community, and I feel spiritually that I am blessed to have these type of communities for my particular background. I'm not saying it's good for anyone else's. I'm saying for my particular background,
So,
I feel my life today is anchored in resilience, peace, and faith, no longer rooted in fear. I was in fear for so long because the religion I grew up in was fear based. If you
yeah,
do this, this is going to happen. Everything was fear, fear, fear. So I felt that half the time I was in therapy, I was trying to get over all this fear that I'd been taught in these religious schools that I went to that were no longer necessary for my life now. My past does not define me anymore. I am done. I feel that I live with a sense of freedom and connection and a trust that I am supported and guided no matter what challenges arise. I feel with
and
these,
is that with a God of your understanding, or a Jesus, or just a faith in a higher power, or
I do believe in God.
okay,
I believe that high vibrational frequencies.
okay,
I believe that everyone is on a frequency, just like radio waves. I believe that it's all unseen, but I personally think there's the Christ like divine, and there's the collective consciousness divine. There's two divines:
okay,
eternal Christ expansion of consciousness. And then there's the connection to the world consciousness. They're in duality all the time. These two divinely led ideals. I'm not going to say anyone's going to believe my consciousness, but it works for me. I mean, I would say, yeah, I've learned the power of boundaries and the importance of self-compassion. And I think the beauty of creating a safe and loving home and trying to every day focus on peace. Most of the practices I do focus on peace. I do a lot of journaling daily. Also, I'm a yoga instructor and a yoga student daily.
okay.
So a lot of my practices that I do are for expansion and peace. I am not opposed to other religions. In fact, I'm actually embrace and open to other ideology. I will look at it and read it. I read so many different things on a daily basis to help me. I'm definitely in to reading about Jesus Christ. I think his spirit, his light is, has changed mankind for good. And I would say there's many ways to get to your spiritual journey. And Buddhism, Judaism, I mean, I've been in so many different faith communities to expand my consciousness to see what people are doing that it's really helped me. Taoism,
Yeah.
when I was a Unitarian, I took the kids to 7 different faith communities, and the people that were the most thrilled and the nicest to us were the Muslims. Mhm. Because
Interesting.
they said that no one had ever even asked to come in to the mosque except for our group.
Hmm.
So, well, most people don't go around visiting other faith communities. I did as a Unitarian, and I thought it was really mind altering of what really happens
Yeah.
out there in the real world. I thought it was, the kids even told me, thank God our parents chose Unitarian.
Uh-huh.
Because they were like, we don't know if we could stand all these other religions. Mormonism, my best friend is Mormon. So I've spent a lot of time with Mormons, and I find that an exciting journey. The number one growing fastest religion in the world is Mormonism.
Mm.
They are in every single country. Um, so everyone has a gift to find their passion, their spirituality. The good news is I feel amazing that I have found this journey. My son was raised as a Unitarian. Um, he's not embracing that vision anymore, but he's happy that he had that experience. But he's definitely into a different faith community now. Um,
And how old is he now?
he's in his early 30s,
Okay.
and I would say the importance of my writing, um, the project that I just finished, East LA to Encino. This
Please share. Yes.
this
Hold
project,
it again. Back it up a little bit. They can't. There we go.
East LA to Encino. Great news. I have
Yep.
100 5-star reviews on this project. I get a call on this project, 3 to 5 calls a week on this project.
And where can people buy that book?
Amazon,
Okay.
Books a Million, Barnes and Noble,
All
well,
right.
every top,
So all of them.
yes. But I would say the number one place to buy it is Amazon. And
Okay.
they also have it on Kindle. And the thing why I'm telling you about this book, because I'm telling you, you can read the 100 5-star reviews because people love it, because I tell the truth of really what goes on in families. It's not any of the information I told today. It's other information that I think can set you free on your own
Okay.
journey. And
And how do you feel today? Do you feel peaceful in your life and content?
I do. I'm
You
blessed.
certainly, I mean,
to have the
certainly,
power.
say again.
I'm blessed to have the power to create my heaven on earth
There you go.
right here, every day, right here. It's right here.
Okay.
And if you have that gift that you can create anything you want, that that's the gift. You can manifest anything you want,
It's beautiful.
but a lot of people don't see it. But I'm doing it. So
And maybe we should read your book.
I'm sorry.
Maybe they should read your book.
Absolutely. Check
Yeah.
out the book, people. East LA to Encino. This is a life-changing book, but I'm going to tell you what is a life-changing is that you have the power.
Yeah.
Own it. You have the power. Don't forget you have the power, because you do. You can create anything you want. I was a little child who lived in the inner city and saw the most horrific things, was completely destitute with money, and I'm doing exceedingly well. I don't have any of those toxicities of living in the inner city. I created a big, amazing life, highly educated, doing what I want to do. And the thing about it, because you can expand your consciousness, you don't have to be stuck. Just because you were poor and from the inner city, you don't have to live there at all.
It's great.
Expand your consciousness. Write that book. Tell your story. Why not you?
Well, you certainly have one fascinating, incredible journey, and I am just honored that you agreed to do this. I appreciate you telling it, and yeah, wow, wow. Thank you very much. This will be up on Beyond Control's website, hopefully by tomorrow. And you can, if you'd like to watch yourself on there, please, by all means, do so.
Okay.
And
Can't wait.
say again.
Looking forward to it.
Okay. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Blessings. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me participate and sharing my truth.
Let me, I'm going to stop the recording.